Guess what this acquired savant just discovered about consciousness, the future of humanity, and plasma? Okay, this all started a few days ago when he made a video about how black holes are like Tesla coils. These black holes, these Tesla coils, inject what Jason calls information, boom, just like the event horizon of a black hole, into quark-gluon plasma. The plasma then structures this information into interference patterns, which creates form and structure and reality. What Jason calls information, I call consciousness. And what Jason calls quark-gluon plasma, I call a living ether at a finer level, but it's the same thing. So quark-gluon plasma are quarks and gluons, and basically right after the Big Bang, which was the Big Birth, the universe was filled with this soup dominated by quarks and gluons. Let's not forget, black holes come from star collapses. Stars are plasma. Plasma is the frickin' foundation of everything. Biatches. Through quantum information holography, Jason basically realized that what he calls angular frequencies govern the universe. And these qubits made of quark-gluon plasma work with the angular frequency, or what you want to call consciousness or information. That is how information is encoded into space-time, reality. In other words, zero-point energy has somehow transitioned to quark-gluon plasma to actively shape the universe, influencing how the universe expands through dark energy. So basically somehow information, or what I call consciousness, let's say the 2D event horizon is plasma, or made up of zero-point energy. This consciousness almost would have to impregnate it with information, which would in turn create this quark-gluon plasma. Just a thought. And this is how the universe experiences itself, through the actual tangible quark-gluon plasma synergizing or feedbacking with consciousness or information, 3D consciousness. Anyway, you should check out Jason's video. It's fascinating, but I'm not done. I think one thing I want to say is that it's not just consciousness. Consciousness is clearly interwoven with plasma to create this reality. You call it zero-point energy, or this latent plasma, ether, living ether plasma, or 2D event horizon, whatever. What wakes it up seems to be consciousness, and it helps impregnate it or give it form, which is very phallic, but it seems to be what happens. But if there was no plasma, there would be no form, and it would just be like a bunch of consciousnesses. The question it makes me think is that I view what's in the singularity or 5D as an intelligence. It's not the same as our 3D consciousness. I think of it as like a mystery. To me, this zero-point energy or the event horizon is imbued, it's already imbued or programmed with this intelligence from the singularity. I think what is separate from that is each of our little consciousnesses shooting out from this place, our multidimensional self. And through that emanation, it impregnates the intelligent plasma, goes through the zero-point energy field, and creates our 3D reality. And with quark-gluon plasma, turns things into form. I don't know if I have the right terminology yet, but that's just like how I think of it. So yeah, Jason talks about it on his Facebook more. Plasma and information are intertwined, forming the dual nature of reality. What I would just call plasma consciousness synergy. We're literally saying the same thing. Information gives structure to plasma. Plasma gives form to information. Together they weave the universe. I'm just getting started. Keep listening. So it gets even cooler. Basically, Jason was able to prove the cosmological constant using these ideas of zero-point energy and quark-gluon plasma. Basically, the cosmological constant is the average of zero-point energy projected holographically from Planck's scale interference, bounded by the Bekenstein limit. Imagine the cosmological constant, which has to do with dark energy and how the universe expands, as a balloon, in the shape of a balloon. The balloon represents the universe. It is the expansion of space-time. But the expansion doesn't happen randomly. It is influenced by a hidden force, just like air pressure inside the balloon. It makes it expand. Now, think of zero-point energy. Think of this as the air molecules inside the balloon, even when it looks empty. These tiny air molecules, they're constantly in motion, but their movement's invisible. This motion represents the energy of the quantum field. Even in an empty space, there is still a subtle vibration or fluctuation, like the energy that still exists in empty space. It's invisible, but it's there. That is zero-point energy. I call zero-point energy intelligence. It is different than information. Okay, please stay with me. Think of inside a black hole as the singularity or God or the mystery, but there's also where your consciousness is its expanded self, your multidimensional self. There's two things in there. And this, intelligence may go beyond the fifth dimension, whatever. They both emanate from black holes. It emanates as one 0-point energy plasma, which is on the event horizon. I just like to call it plasma or a living ether. And it also emanates as consciousness or information. This becomes individualized in the 3D, which is each of us. So the 0-point energy in this 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional reality is plasma, a living ether, and it is imbued or coated with the intelligence, with the mystery. It does not hold consciousness, but consciousness uses it and it moves through it. It impregnates it to create this reality. That is what changes 0-point energy in a quark-gluon plasma. It is 0-point energy in form, starting to interact with consciousness at a very low level, instant that happened. That is why it is like the lowest thing we can get to, the smallest thing we can get to. I don't know the right term. The interplay of consciousness or information, same thing, and quark-gluon plasma is what creates emergent intelligence or dark energy. And now we're getting into my own ideas, by the way. Sorry, I veered off from Jason, but I swear we're saying the same thing in different ways. I just bring like emotion into it somehow in psychology. We interplay off each other and get these crazy ideas, which I think are accurate. So emergent intelligence is different than intelligence, but it's the same. It is literally just the universe learning. It's the mystery learning and experiencing itself through us. It is that intelligence that is imbued in plasma intelligence that then interplays with our individual consciousness, which is what creates this emergent intelligence. From desire, from our heart's desire, creates dark energy, which literally expands our universe. I have a headache. But I swear, slow down and think about it, or maybe I'll get better at explaining it. This is very new for me still, this idea, but it makes sense. So the emergent intelligence is just after it's gone through our filters. We're basically like a window. Humans are how the mystery God learns about itself. Oh my God, makes a lot of sense. And somehow Jason is explaining it in science and math, and I'm explaining it with science and math and psychology. Through both of us, through plasma and information or light or consciousness. So the cosmological constant, this dark energy, expands because of our desire, because we're using plasma and consciousness to create reality in every moment on larger scales and smaller scales. With that said, the cosmological constant is actually always in flux. It's always changing. I have a video on this. The reason dark energy they think is decaying or our universe isn't expanding as quick is actually because we're learning how to use plasma more efficiently, which makes us expand slower. But it doesn't mean we're not becoming more efficient. Watch my video on that. It's about dark energy, meaning that we're expanding our consciousness. But it doesn't mean the universe is going to crunch or pop. The balloon ain't popping. We're just learning how to work the balloon. We're new. Anyways, interestingly enough, the Bekenstein limit he talks about here, this is a limit on how much the balloon can expand before it pops. But if we learn to use this more efficiently, we create free will out of structure, which is why the balloon ain't popping, as long as we evolve our consciousness. That has to do with the earth too. We won't ruin it if we evolve our consciousness. I need to write this all down, what I'm saying. Basically, the expansion of the universe is not random. It is driven by a deeper dynamic interplay of plasma or quark-gluon plasma and consciousness or information. Okay, what does this mean for humanity? Everything. Basically, this connects the universe's expansion and how the universe is created with our consciousness and our emotional growth. When our consciousness aligns with plasma in a harmonic way, we co-create the universe consciously. Our desires, driven by love or fear, are going to create, so we may as well learn how to create from love and curiosity. We directly influence reality with our consciousness. His equation is bringing this back in, and what I'm saying is too. So by using what I call plasma consciousness synergy with our conscious awareness, we can influence reality in ways we've never thought we could. I'm writing a book about this. It's out in a few months. The link is in my bio. Shameless plug. You can literally tap into your inner power after learning how to work with plasma to co-create reality in magical ways. We are just starting to learn this. So am I. Spent most of my life asleep. I swear, guys, plasma is at the center of it along with consciousness. And the key is we've been missing plasma in the equation. The emotion, the divine feminine, the receptive, the listening, the paradox, the Kali, the Shakti, the fear, the love. It's time to face it and harmonize with it. Peace.